just got back into reading last year. I read a little bit in the beginning of the year when I gave birth to my daughter, but really like summertime I started reading more on like a daily basis. And by the end of the year, I think I read like 21 books between like August and the end of December. This year I wanted to at least read like a book a week, kind of, so I did 50. This is the beginning of July. I've already read 66 of those 50, so maybe I should have made a bigger goal. But I want to do a mid-year book tag. I wanted to make it through June before I did this so that I got a full 6 months in. So yeah, let's go through them. Okay, the first question is the best book I've read this year. Best book of 2024 thus far, 6 months in. I can't name just one because it's a series and every single one of them has made me so happy, has made me cry, has made me like really think farther about like youth and like the decisions you make in your youth and the things you go through in your youth and trauma bonds, and I don't know, I loved it so much. I love all of them. And that's the Magnolia Park series. This is the only one I haven't read. Read all the other ones. It's the only series that I want multiple covers of. I want the indie covers, I want the special edition covers, I want all of them. I want to snuggle them at night. So not best book, but best series I read this year. And I think out of all of them, out of all of the 4 that I've read, I loved Magnolia Parks. Loved. Obviously got me into the series. I mean, I tapped the hell out of it. I adored it. Then I read Daisy Hates, and I was like, wait, am I a Daisy Hates girl? I love BJ and Magnolia, Christian and Daisy. Okay, and then I was like, okay, I love all of these. Then I read The Long Way Home and The Great Undoing at the same time. I did the tandem. Adored the tandem. But I then became a Julian girl, so I think my favorite of the series thus far is Daisy Hates The Great Undoing. I know that this book is going to make me cry, and that's why I haven't read it yet. I know it's going to make me sob my eyes out, and I know that Jessa Hastings isn't giving us another Daisy Hates anytime soon that we know of. So, my favorite books of the year is Magnolia Parks. Series, universe, world. Okay, the best sequel I've read this year. Don't know if you consider this a sequel. It's book 2. Technically, they're all interconnected standalones, but Heartless by Elsie Silver. Because Cade and Willa are like one of my favorite couples ever, I think. Maybe, I know some people don't like having parents in their romance novels. I'm a mom, okay? Best sequel. Calling it a sequel. Best sequel. 5 stars. What was my biggest surprise book of the year? You're gonna die. You'll never guess this. Night Shift. I like high school characters when it comes to like maybe a thriller, you know, maybe like a cutesy coming of age. I do not really read high school, college age romance at all. Definitely not like the cutesy characters, but this is a college romance. They're definitely young. You can tell they're very youthful, but it's like the basketball star and like the bookworm that works at the library, and I could reread this 100 times. I don't know what's in it, but I'm obsessed. And this was a Wattpad book that was published And literally, as soon as I found that out, I was like, I had never wanted to read on Wattpad. I'm in my 30s, okay? Like, we didn't read Wattpad. Or maybe they didn't, just people I know didn't. I don't know. Anyways, this literally made me download Wattpad because I was like, I need more of whatever this is because I'm obsessed with it. Also, the cover, so cute. I love it. A book that made me happy, smile a ton. It's a graphic novel, Heartstopper. I haven't read the rest of the series yet because I know I have them. I know that as soon as I pick one up, I'm going to binge it because I read this first one and immediately almost bought all of them to be delivered the next day on Amazon. So I am obsessed with these characters. I want to wait to watch the show until after I've read all of them. Nick and Charlie, I could reread this right now and would still be giddy. It made me smile so much. And yeah, there's like sad parts and traumatic things that happen, especially because this is like high school. And so when you get in, once you start reading it, you get into that mind frame. You're like, okay, yeah, those things are really sad and traumatic, but yet like the moments in here that happen that make you smile, just like it is like the cutest, wholesome, giddy happiness that comes from you. I love it. I loved Heartstopper. I loved. The next one is a book that made me cry. I do not have this book in physical copy. I actually only have the first book, and that's from the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I have read the whole series. I have not read Caraval, Don't Come For Me. Let me just show you. I had the US paperback of Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I got into bookbinding this year. I guess end of last year, whatever. I rebound my paperback of Once Upon a Broken Heart. I want to do the whole series. I just haven't. But yeah, the book that made me cry the most was definitely The Ballad of Never After. I loved the whole series. It was so cute and yet so romantic and deep, especially for like a fantasy fairy tale YA. I knew I was going to love it from all the fan art, and then when I started reading it, I was like, I love this. It was, and I read it during a time when my rheumatoid arthritis was really bad, and it was like the perfect storyline to get me out of my head, and it made me cry constantly. Book 2 did, because you just love the characters so much. And if I want to give an honorable mention to another book that's made me cry almost every page, which is what I'm associating this with because The Ballad of Never After made me cry constantly. The Magnolia Parks universe definitely does that constantly to you. I cried so much during those books. I mean, like if you need a good cry, pick those up. But I'm still reading Reckless, book 2 in the Powerless trilogy, because every couple of pages I start crying. Because you just love the character. And it's kind of the same feeling as The Ballad of Never After. You love the character so much that you just want everything to be good for them, and it's not. And so it makes you cry. Okay, I don't have a lot of special editions. I have some really beautiful editions, like Barnes & Noble editions, and books that I think are very pretty. There's 2 that I got this year. One I pre-ordered and then read / listened to the audiobook of. The other one I bought the collector's edition after I read it because I was so obsessed with it. Okay. I'm going to show you the one that I pre-ordered, which came out this year, and that's The Deer and the Dragon by Piper CJ. I actually watched Piper's videos on TikTok for a while, and then one day I was like, wait, she writes books? I don't know how I missed it. I don't know. The algorithm screwed me up. I don't know. But I had bought her other series, and I hadn't started reading it yet, and then this came in through a pre-order, and I buddy read it, and we both loved this so much. but it is beautiful. Beautiful. It came signed, which, like, signed, not printed, signed, like really signed. But the thing that killed me was and if you follow me on TikTok, you've seen these, was the overlays. They're beautiful. I am obsessed with them. Let me find, okay, so here's one. Wait, don't let me cover her face. That's Marlo. Okay, and then let me find the other one. Are you kidding? First of all, Marlo is the artist that drew Marlo drew like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. Okay. So these overlays are stunning. They're so high quality. They're so beautiful. And then like the teal sprayed edges with the overlays and the stuff. I am obsessed with this book. It's on my display shelf. I loved this book. I was so surprised by it. The twists, the turns, and then all of a sudden, like the last third of the book, you're deep as hell into this fucking fantasy world that you think you really are in. Like, she really plants you in there. And the journey that you go on to get into this fantasy world is mind-boggling. Like I said, I buddy read this, and we read 10 chapters at a time, and we were both like the next day being like, are you going to start the next 10 chapters? Because we got to get this going. Like, I need to know what happens. Obsessed. I cannot wait to see if she does novellas. I cannot wait for the next book. I hope they do more. This is from Mysterious Galaxy, the bookstore. I hope she does another pre-order like this with the overlays because I want it. Definitely one of the most beautiful books. This book made me laugh, made me cry, made me relive my youth in a way, made me relive realizing that I was queer, made me relive friendships and relationships, and just like was so beautiful. I was obsessed with it. And I went on Pango and found a collector's edition. And so that's one last stop. I cannot believe it took me this long to read this book. I know that I only got back into reading last year, but like I have actually heard in Imogen, obviously, I believe it was, she has like multiple copies of this book. And so obviously it's very popular, very well known like in the queer community. And I didn't know, and I'm so happy that I have it. It is so beautiful. It has a quote on the front, a time, a place, a person. The converse is on the back. The in papers were everything I truly imagined while reading this book. Like, I'm obsessed with it. Obsessed. And then the pale pink pages. This is also on my display shelf. I do not want to even read this book physically because I don't want a smudge to exist on this book. I'm so happy that I found it from such an amazing bookseller on Pango. I got it at such a good deal, and it is so, she kept it so beautiful. So yeah, this One Last Stop is one of my top favorite books of all time now, and I will treasure this collector's edition. Maybe I will gift this one day to one of my daughters. Like, coming up, anticipated release. Okay, I read book one. This book just came out. That is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I love the Chestnut Springs series. I have not finished them. I'm taking my time. I'm enjoying the ride. But I love Elsie Silver's writing, and I picked this up on release day. I binged it. I was obsessed with it. I'm still obsessed with it. I did not think that I would like billionaire romance series, and yet who knew? Who knew that billionaires and you know, the people around them can be can go through their own traumas. I had no idea, you know. The next book comes out this year. It is Wild Eyes. I read, at the end of this is like the first few chapters. I read the sneak peek into Wild Eyes and was like, this is going to be this is going to be my heartless to the Chestnut Springs series. This is going to be the Cade, what Cade is to Chestnut Springs. It's going to be Wild Eyes. It's going to be the book 2 of the Rose Hill, because I literally wanted to cry after reading the first, I think it's like 2 chapters you get in the sneak peek. I was like, I need this book now. I need it now. And I don't have it, and I am anxiously awaiting it. I need to read it. I will end up picking it up and not putting it down. I will binge it and put it on my shelf and reread it 1,000 times, because that's how obsessed I am with Wes already. Already obsessed, and I've read 2. Honestly, I got obsessed with him from this. I don't know what it is about these Elsie Silver book 2s, but they have the relatable men and women that I need in my life, and I love them. A new release I haven't read. Okay, I actually have a ton of new releases that I haven't read yet, but I wanted to mention one that I actually have not seen in anyone's mid-year wrap-up. And that's probably because it's such a long series and people have already read a ton of them, but I picked up from the Kings of Sin, King of Sloth. Anna Huang has done such an amazing job with the men and women in this series. I did not expect, I mostly read fantasy, and I did not expect for this series to be one of the couple of series. There's probably like 4 or 5 series that I love that are in the romance genre. This is one of them. I love this series. I love the Kings of Sin. All of the men and the women in there, I love watching them go through things, and I picked up this one and have not read it yet, and I don't know why. I don't really have a reason why I haven't read it yet. I know that I'm going to enjoy it because I love all the other ones, so I don't know why I haven't. But also the character art in this, I love. But yeah, this just came out recently. No date. 2024. But listen to the dedication. To every woman who's ever been told to smile more, fuck that. Do what you want. Between the character art and, I don't own any of these in physical copy. I read them all on my Kindle, listened to part of them on Libby. Okay, so some of these questions are not on the normal book tag, but I thought they were good, and I saw them on someone else's, so I want to do them. Okay, book you love with mixed reviews. Ooh. Wait, I know which one it is. I'm sorry. I loved it. Was it rushed? Probably. You know, you gotta strike while the iron's hot, I guess. Also, she puts out a ton of books. She writes, if you look at her romance, she's like popping books out like crazy. So the idea that she wasn't gonna finish this quickly is a little wild to me. But I loved it. I'm sorry. Okay, favorite new author. New to me, new in general, whatever. Favorite new author. I do not have a physical copy of this book. I got it as an ARC. I loved it. I was obsessed with it. If you are a romantasy girly, you also like a little bit of like trauma and trauma healing in your romantasy books. of Darkness and Ruination, which I don't know how many books are going to be in the series, but it is a series. It's called the Star Queen Chronicles. It's by Rachel Fallon. I read the arc. I loved it. It was amazing. Really fast-paced. Romantasy with some trauma built in, some trauma healing built in. Very Selena Sardothian-esque. Maybe not. Maybe like Selena Sardothian with Hayden from Powerless. And if you were to blend the two, like hella strong, also powerless, you know. Yeah. That's what your female main character's like. Your male main character gives like non-toxic Dracula vibes, like Dracula if he was a king. Not like a king like in a fantasy, but like the man we all love, like thank you for standing up for the women king. Okay, read it. It's amazing. I believe you can get it on your Kindle. It's also got a beautiful cover. You could pick it up in hard copy. 5-star predictions. Ooh, I definitely have some books that I haven't read yet that are on my TBR card that are 5-star predictions. Hold on. This is my TBR card. There are books that are also on my TBR that are not on here. I don't keep hardbacks in physical on here. Oh. Let's just pretend you didn't see that. So 5-star predictions from my TBR card. I just brought her up for another book, but the Piper CJ, her first series, I think it's her first series, I'm pretty sure. This is going to be a 5-star. I just feel it in my bones. The reviews I've seen, it looks like it's right up my alley. Very excited for this. I'll give you one more. I bet a bunch of you have already read this. I haven't. I got it from Book of the Month and I still haven't read it. I'm a huge Norse mythology fan person. I love it. A Fate Inked in Blood. I have not read it yet because I really want to make sure that I'm like digesting it and loving it and appreciating all of the like hidden gems that I think will be in here. So I haven't read it yet, but I do believe this is going to be a 5-star for me for sure. I'm going to do one more because I just have so many that are over here. Here's one that you probably haven't seen yet that I think is going to be one of my favorite books, and it's called Sick Kids in Love. And it's like a rom-com with disability representatives in it, and yeah, I'm excited because I am someone who suffers with chronic illness and pain, and so I'm excited actually to see that displayed in a rom-com. Yeah. Books I've been putting off. This one's actually a good one because before you know it, August will be over. We'll be starting to get into fall. And I have a section of books that I have not pulled out because they are going to be my fall reads. And, you know, that's going to be my vibe in fall, is like these dark academia vibes. And I have a stack of them already ready for fall. Babel. Also, anyone that hates beveled edges, we can fight in the street. I love beveled edges. Secret History. I want to start the Atlas 6 series. And then I really want to get into Leah Bardugo. I also have a beautiful copy of The Familiar down here behind me. I'm just not going to pull it out. But yeah, I want to get into her series. At the end of August, post-vacation, pre-fall, I want to read Never by Jessa Hastings. This is also another one with mixed reviews, but I love, obviously, Magnolia Park's universe, obsessed with it. I love the idea of her writing in a Peter Pan retelling, you know, it's very like atmospheric, so I'm excited for this. A book I want to reread is actually right here. I want to reread Dracula. I read it when I was younger, and a book that I read this year that was a pretty high rated book for me. was The Dowry of Blood. And after reading it, it made me rethink everything I thought of Dracula. Again, I read this when I was younger, but made me rethink everything I thought of Dracula in my brain, and really understood, like, I think a better part of the story from when you're reading it from one of his wives' perspectives and seeing all the trauma that came from it. So I want to reread Dracula and with this new mindset that I have from The Dowry of Blood. And this is a beautiful edition of it. Also will be like a fall vibe for me. We're gonna wrap this up. My reading goal, already talked about, I have exceeded it. So some of my new goals, one is to plow through my physical TBR. I have been doing better about getting through my physical TBR, and also utilizing the library more, utilizing like Pango and used books more, just because I do really like I like paperbacks a lot, so, you know, they're going to get messed up. So a little bit, if it's already loved a little bit, that's okay. But I want to get through my physical TBR. The books that I have that are just, I'm never going to reread them, I definitely want to either gift them to people that I know will love them or sell them on Pango, just so that I'm not overwhelmed by books that are not, you know, my love, that I'm not going to reread. I want to continue to share the books, not just accumulate them and let them rot away on my shelf. So that's another thing, is like picking up books that I am going to love, and if I don't love them, that's okay. Let them move on to a new home, you know. So finish this physical TBR. That's my new goal, to wrap up the rest of the year. I'm going to try to do more book reviews on here. Follow me on TikTok. I do books, games, funny millennial mom humor, that kind of stuff. Yeah, see you next time.